Is this the end of Prime? Let's hope so.
Oh boy, it seems like things are getting really bad for Prime as they just keep getting hit with massive lawsuit after massive lawsuit, all
That's a huge win for us, boys. Let's go.
while it seems like the sales are tanking. You now have stores in Norway which are practically giving away bottles of Prime for 10 cents a bottle. And this isn't like a Dollar General type store in Norway. No, this is like one of the main grocery stores. So it very much seems like Prime is collapsing from the heights it was at when they launched in 2022 because
well, at some point they are going to collapse from the heights. That's absolutely true. And now since Logan Paul has changed his career to wrestling, something kids fundamentally don't seem to care about that much, who's going to buy their drink? No one. No one.
the demand, it was just so high. You had grifters like Wakey Wines reselling Prime for hundreds of dollars a pack.
How you doing, buddy? Are you right?
Not bad, mate.
Where have you come from?
Bev,
What made you come to Wakey Wines?
I've seen it on TikTok.
What have you come to buy? 12 bottles of what? Metamoon.
12 bottles of Metamoon.
That'd be £419 and you've paid on the card. What's the best shop in Wakey? Wakey Wine.
This is insane, and this is cringe. Hopefully he resold this for, other kids.
Wakey Wine.
Thank you very much for coming. Abdul, come closer.
There's just so much wrong with that video. 450 pounds for 12 bottles of Prime. And then his customer just seemed like he was in a hostage situation. And then his
He seemed kind of proud also.
hoodie is the Paradox crypto scam that used the fake Ronaldo and iShow Speed to promote the project. I wonder where that
Nice.
project is now.
And it's gone.
Oh. But back to the Prime lore. Logan and KSI, they were boxing rivals for many years, but they united to partner up to become the face of this new sports drink. Clearly, it was extremely hyped. Logan and KSI, they were bragging about how well it was doing.
What the numbers?
Yeah, I want the numbers.
What are we dealing with here?
All right.
Come on.
Oh,
God.
In year one,
Yeah.
we cleared $110 million in retail sales.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, excuse me. 250 million in retail sales.
Oh, sorry. That was a little mistake.
110 million gross internally. In January of this year, we did 45 million.
Oh, okay.
Oh, only
Wow.
in January.
Yeah.
But now, I guess not so much. And I don't know why. I can only speculate. Their competitors, they taste better. They may not be healthier, but they taste better. And we actually saw this play out with Mr. Beast very recently, where he made chocolate bars that actually had really good ingredients, but people just didn't think they tasted as good as the competition. So
Yeah, and no longer ethically sourced cacao. Ah, Mr. Beast, what a time to be alive.
they had to go back and rebrand and add more sugar and so on. So the question now is, will Prime follow?
Yeah, I don't understand this. Why would anyone want to buy a chocolate if it doesn't taste sugary? That's the whole reason why you buy a chocolate. If you don't want something sugary, buy a pizza or something. How does a non-sweet chocolate make sense? Now, there are some people who don't like too sweet chocolate, which doesn't make sense. My mom doesn't like too sweet chocolate, which I never understood. But, it is what it is. But there's not a lot of people like that out in the world.
Suit to be determined. But Prime is definitely trying to brand themselves as a sports drink, but there's a lack of sugar and extremely low sodium. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where they're wanting to position themselves, like realistically in the market. Is it for people who
Oh, realistically in the market, you can't say that they lied because then Logan Paul's gonna sue you, but effectively, people have done research on the drink, and it does have a lot of, I don't remember what kind of stuff it even had there, but the point is, it doesn't actually work better than most energy drinks because the combination of stuff is just made to taste better, essentially, taste more sweet, than actually be good to refill you on energy. That's kind of the big deal with Prime. This is what a lot of people on the internet who actually understand calories and vitamins and supplements and do all of that thing have en masse said.
want something good to drink but not get fat, but then they just kind of run back into that same problem where they just don't taste great. And then it can't really help that the face of the brand is Logan Paul.
Oh, did they actually change it so it works better as a sports drink and tastes worse? didn't hear about that. But then again, I'm not a 10-year-old Zoomer.
Who's one of the most disliked creators of all time. But kids, they were eating this stuff up. So I feel like the value prop I see here is parents probably don't want to give their children the worst of the worst. So they're probably looking at the sports drink version of the Prime, not the energy drink one, because they're two separate things. And they go, oh,
Bro has Counter-Strike 1.6 stuff, or maybe this is Source. Nice.
look, there's pretty much no sugar in this. Maybe this is a better alternative. In Norway, I guess that wasn't that strong of a
Nah,
value
that's 1.6, I think.
prop because it seems like they're on their way out. I did end up going to a couple different stores to try to find Prime, and every time I found Prime, it was for sale. Here in the US, it's definitely not on the crazy sales like they're doing in Norway. I mean, in Norway, it's like 99% off there. The sales I found are probably like 10 to 20% off, as I'll show in pictures here and here. And this is from Target and CVS. So those are a little bit to be determined. The 99%.
This was to be expected because I remember the reason why the packaging plant is suing Prime and Logan Paul and whatnot, because they made a deal for X bottles a year being produced or something like that, or for the specific year. And then Prime started selling less, and they didn't order the appropriate amount of bottles, which is now suable because you are in very direct breach of contract. And, well, Prime is not going to win that one, because if you are in direct breach of contract for no reason other than a YOLO 420 Blazer didn't want to sell.
Sale in Norway definitely means they can't sell them. 10 to 20% sales, that's somewhat normal. You see that with products here from time to time. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're really struggling. But their sales are not their only problem, as they've been hit with a handful of lawsuits recently. The first one was being the high amount of PFAs allegedly being found in Prime. But it doesn't really seem like there's too much substance there in that lawsuit. Logan?
Yeah, that... I don't remember how much I spoke about it, but that seemed a little bit sus to me, because the claim was what? That there's, like, 10 times more forever chemicals in one bottle of Prime than a person should get in his whole entire lifetime? And while that was hilarious, and maybe I spoke about it a little bit, I did a little bit of thinking about it, and I'm saying thinking, not researching, so this may not be an accurate statement, but having 10 times more chemicals in a single bottle than a person should ever have in their lifetime, multiply that with kids who are buying a bottle a day a minimum or drinking probably even more of that stuff. We should have, if that statement was true, we should have seen dying kids constantly, you know, kids developing, you know, an abnormal rate of cancer and things like that. Because that's what whatever chemicals do. It's cancer, it's death, and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, considering we didn't see a magical random dying of a bunch of kids, I kind of thought that, yeah, this is probably not true.
Logan even made a response to Dr. Pompa and another TikTok lawyer who made videos about this PFA lawsuit Prime was involved in. And both of those responses, I even said in my video covering that situation, were good responses from Logan. But this also establishes that Logan has a past of coming out to set the record straight. So the fact that he hasn't came out to talk about any of the other lawsuits, that's a little bit interesting. But what are the other lawsuits? So first and foremost, we have a $68 million lawsuit filed by Refresco Beverages, a major independent beverage manufacturer, and the dispute between Prime and them stems from a contract they signed between the two parties in April 2023, where Refresco agreed to manufacture Prime's uniquely shaped bottles. To fulfill this contract, Refresco invested heavily in setting up a specialized production line, refitting equipment, and dedicating significant resources exclusively for Prime. Apparently, this was a risky venture for Refresco, as it required substantial upfront financial and logistical commitment. The contract included a minimum purchasing requirement, obligating Prime to buy a set numbers of bottles each year for 3 years. This was a safeguard for Refresco, ensuring
this one's the one I said. This is the one I remember.
that they would recoup their investment even if Prime's sales didn't meet expectations. The contract also outlined penalties for Prime if they failed to meet these minimum purchase commitments. It's also mentioned that things seemed promising for Prime at first.
Wait, penalties? Not just getting sued. because there's a huge difference.
However, according to Refresco's complaint, sales began to decline due to various factors, including seasonal demand fluctuations, waning social media buzz, and ongoing class action lawsuits against Prime related to alleged deceptive marketing practices and potentially harmful ingredients. As sales dwindled, Prime allegedly began to backpedal on contractual obligations. Refresco claimed by March 2024.
But you can't do that because you signed a contract. Unless the contract has a stipulation that says, hey, if a hurricane hits Logan Paul in the face, this contract is null and void.
They had completed the setup of the production line and scheduled a final test run to begin commercial production. However, Prime reportedly refused to participate in this test run and subsequently failed to place any initial orders. According to the lawsuit, Prime then abandoned the entire contract, effectively declaring it invalid.
Invalid? Why?
And walking away from the agreement. Refresco contends that
Wait. I want to know the reason why they declared that invalid.
Prime's actions represent a blatant breach of contract, especially after they had already invested significant resources into fulfilling their end of the deal. The lawsuit seeks $68 million in damages to compensate for the costs incurred by Refresco in preparing for production of Prime bottles. Okay, so Refresco is essentially alleging they got rug pulled here. They invested a bunch of money to be able to produce the Prime bottles, but then Prime just stopped buying bottles from them. No way. An investor with Logan Paul being left with the bag? That's never happened before. Completely
Yeah, but this is a signed contract where you're gonna get sued.
unheard of. But a light $68 million lawsuit isn't their only worry, because they were also sued by the Olympics. Why are they being sued by the Olympics?
Oh, the Olympics is the dumbest thing ever. I honestly don't even want to watch it. But yeah, the bottle, which I don't know if we're gonna see, but the bottle has the Olympic colors, which turns out are trademarked. Now, I hate Logan Paul, but I think even I think that one's a little bit like, huh?
Well, for earlier, or I'm pronouncing it wrong, Argovana, the company that supplies Prime's coconut water mix, has accused Prime of breach of contract. The lawsuit supplies Prime's coconut water mix has accused Prime of breach of contract. The lawsuit claims that Prime, after experiencing slower than anticipated sales, convinced.
Okay, I get what's happening here. Everyone's effectively suing them for the fact that Prime sales are going out the window currently because it's not as popular. Probably because KSI doesn't do anything as much as I know, and Logan Paul has switched to boomer entertainment activities. So they just want to backpedal out of every contract they have signed because I assume they're stupid enough, honestly, to believe that it's gonna work. Hell no, this is not gonna work. These are big companies. They are probably willing to wait a year or whatever to sue you, but they're gonna sue you if you are in such a huge breach of contract. In fact, the bigger the company, the more likely it is actually willing to wait until it's a critical mass that they can sue you. Because, you don't do the first order. Typically, that's fine. Well, it's not fine, but, okay, they slap a breach of contract penalty for not doing the first order and whatnot. That's fine. They pay it, the stuff gets done, because the first order still needs to be done, otherwise the fine just keeps on growing. This is how these contracts typically work. And they just wait until there's so many problems, not fulfillment of the contract, they can just sue them. This is what these companies are going to do. Anyway, I feel that that's it. That was a tozy. The Olympics thing is stupid, though, not gonna lie. Anyway, bye-bye.